Hello and welcome, I'm Liam the music reviewer. Let's just have a bit of a chewing gum. And today we're going to be reviewing the Jack Ladder album, Blue Poles. I was going to say the new album is his latest record, but it came out in May, earlier this year. May seemed like it was ages ago, even though it was only like 3 months or whatever. But yeah, I got this album recommended to me by Andy from Transistor Cast. We're going to be doing an episode that's pretty relative to sort of like lesser known acts. Jack Ladder is from Australia. Like I say, this is his 5th studio album, so he's been doing it for quite a wee bit now. Prior to listening to this album, had no real experience with him. I listened to a few of the singles after Andy recommended it, and I was like, you know what, I'm liking these enough. Let me see what the rest of this album's actually like. So what was it like? The most obvious thing, I guess you could say, would be the influences. You can tell that Jack looks up to people like Nick Cave quite a fair bit. Also, Jack Ladder is part of the touring band for Alex Cameron. If I remember correctly, if I've been informed correctly, he's in the touring band, and you can definitely see that connection there. It doesn't come across really painfully though. It doesn't come across like I was talking about that Queen EP in an earlier video, where I felt like that album, or that EP, sorry, was getting held back because of how obviously influenced it was. Whereas I feel with like Jack Ladder, yeah, you can tell who he's influenced by, but I never feel like he's just doing it for like, it's never just like a really paper thin homage. It's always, he's always trying to build on it to some extent. I do think there's some really interesting points on this album where I've had a few like favourite songs of the year like getting added to the playlist. I'll plug that down below because God knows no one's listening to it. But yeah, what is just this album like in general? Well, you could just look at a song like Blue Mirror, which packs in some really kind of like glitzy, sometimes quite minimal sort of production. Maybe something you'd expect Bowie to kind of like mess about with like long ago. And Jack's just really kind of deep, croony voice just starts to wrap itself around it. It is really lovely. And then during this song himself, Jack starts to like kind of like start to not even like beg, maybe like reminisce, or just shows affection for this kind of old flame, someone from his past. And he uses some like quite nice imagery. I need to give it to Jack on this album. There's a lot of just bits of lyricism where he just like shows that he's really good at it. The one on this song specifically is Iceberg Candle Cobalt Flame, which again is just a wee small bit of it, but every song seems to have like a little bit of just a really nice visual. It's very good at doing that. It's kind of relevant that I bring up Bowie as well. One, because apparently the death of Bowie kind of like influenced or inspired Jack, if I remember correctly. I'll put up the little interview bit on the screen just now. But for the song Tell It Like It Is, it's quite like something you maybe see or hear on Low or Heroes. On this time, Jack, instead of just like again really paying homage, he starts to become like a different sort of character. He's never just like quite one note. Like beforehand, he was kind of like, as I say, pondering on Bloomer. This time he's a bit more upstanding. He's a bit more kind of just tell me, like the track says, just tell me how it is. Like he's not afraid, or maybe he is afraid to hear what this person has to say to him, but he's had enough. He wants to know. He can't hold it back any longer. It doesn't matter how much it's going to pain him or how much it's going to destroy him. He wants to know. It's kind of like somebody who's just like at the end of their tether and just can't go a second longer without knowing what they want to know. But the peak of this album, for me anyway, comes in the form of the third track, Susan, which is fairly heavy. It deals with like some quite heavy subject matter, at least in the form of like talking about death and how maybe somebody would sort of like deal with it in this sense, or in this interpretation of it. Jack is the dead husband who is contacting his widowed wife, imploring her to commit suicide basically. And the way this song goes about it, like, that sounds really dark. You would expect some like really noticeably dreary production, but it's all quite light-hearted, and actually it's like one of the grooviest moments on this album. And I kind of find that really interesting because I feel when Jack's going about certain topics on this. You could maybe expect him to go down one route, but it's not really that predictable. You might expect, like, as you listen to the album, you kind of like get a feel for what he's doing. Like, the fact that you think that it's going to go down a route you don't think it's going to go down is in turn maybe a bit predictable. But for me, it just made him just a really interesting figure. There's the line, just mix the Vicodin with the methadone, no more sad days on our own, which is really, really powerful. It's again, just when it comes to lyrics, Jack Ladder just seems to have a real knack for it. As I say, there's no real running narrative, but it does feel like there's also the running theme of romance, of just chemistry in general. And you would think, just from how heavy that song Susan was there, how maybe like all that darkness is front loaded, that maybe by the end of it we've got a bit more of an optimistic take. Feeling brand new could very well be seen in that way. You can maybe interpret as Jack like he's got all these negative things happen to him, like all this turmoil going on, but he feels brand new. He's just gonna keep going on. But the way that I read it anyway is a man who is just blissfully unaware, just totally naive to the fact that he has these issues, that he has agency and that he could fix, but he's just unaware, or he's intentionally just not dealing with it. Again, something that the fact that like you can see it in two different ways, I obviously see it in my way, again makes this quite just an interesting album from just this one album alone. I feel an interesting man. We get the final song, Merciful Reply, as well, which seems to kind of be like the end to this sort of like arc. Maybe you can maybe see it's a two-parter. Maybe like somebody can listen to this album and see like, oh, these songs are all connected in some sort of way. It's just basically like the torn bow that wraps it all up. It kind of like sees the tables get turned a bit, whereas with the song Susan, it was basically more of Jack imploring his wife to do something. It gets turned around now. It's Jack has no communication here. He's the one that's basically left on his own. He's basically left with like a ghost, so to speak. I think in the song it directly said it's been like a year since he had any sort of contact, and it's killing him inside. The lack of closure, lack of communication, it's almost as powerful as the song Susan, but without using the same words, which I feel just goes a long way, or just goes away to show how good Jack is with how it comes to conveying these emotions, both with how he delivers them and how he manages to kind of like contain them or try and like translate them into words, into, like I say, with his delivery. I do think the production is probably the only thing holding this album back. I don't think it ever goes or gets to that same level. There is definitely some really lovely moments, especially when I'm mentioning that whole bit, the whole kind of like Bowie influence that comes about. The Merciful Reply finale also sounds a bit kind of like Brian Eno-esque, but I never feel like it's up to par. And somebody could definitely make the argument that they think that Jack's more of the focus here, so the production being a bit more laid back isn't so much a bad thing. But for me, I feel like with other albums that I could compare this to, their production as well as the frontman or the singer-songwriter is still like there's no need for like a battle there. They can kind of coexist. So if I was to like try and like ask for Jack to do something better on this next album, one, I would ask for the production just kind of like be a step up, like so they're kind of like on par, and also for the influence, because yeah, you can definitely see, like, again, there's nothing bad about being influenced, and I do think that he uses them in a way that isn't just simply just kind of like, oh, you remember this guy? I kind of sound like him a little bit, because he does go, he doesn't just kind of replicate that just completely and leave it at that. Like I say, you can see Nick Cave and Leonard Cohen in this album. But I feel like for our next album though, like this, his next album could be like a truly, truly great one, like one that everyone will be buzzing about. I still like this album a great deal though. In terms of a score, I'm gonna go for a light 7. It really does kind of like fill the sort of like slot that Forced Witness did last year. Just like having this kind of like character, like kind of like a total kind of like a stereotype, or just like a characterization of a certain attitude. Jack doesn't have like the one fit one. It seems like just like different people, and he goes about and making sure they stand out as different people with how they act. Obviously, he can't change his song he can't change his voice and his vocals that many times, but I'd feel that they're kind of like consistently compelling, and just Jack himself is a compelling singer-songwriter who is going to go a long way, I think. I'm very happy with how surprised I was by this album. Very happy that Andy recommended it to me. We'll be talking about it a bit more on Friday's Transistor episode. But yeah, as always, guys, if you listen to this album, let me know what your songs you love, what ones you hate, what your general opinion of this album is. And as always, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you guys very soon.